The car community is awesome, if you know where to look. This is no more apparent than at the PRI Show, which is held annually in Indianapolis, Indiana. Whether you're into something old, 6-inch stroke. I'm complaining about a 4-inch stroke. Something new, billet, big wheels,
It's got bead locks.
big tires, you name it, chances are there's something there for you. Perhaps you're like us and you're at PRI with a problem to solve. We went to PRI this year looking for information on how to solve our piston scuffing problem that we've been having on our latest Vortec 4200 builds. I really want to solve this issue so that when we throw forged pistons into an engine, we don't just scuff the crap out of those and throw away $2,000. While some people see PRI as sort of a pissing match between different manufacturers to show off their new billety techno widget with carbon fiber inlay, what you can't argue with is there are a lot of smart people at PRI, and they're willing to help however they can, whether you want to buy their product or not. We started by talking to the folks at Ross Pistons. The engineer there was happy to give his opinion to us, and what is so cool about PRI is we can basically walk across the aisle and go talk to Wiseco or Mahle and ask them the same exact question and see if they come to the same conclusion. From this, you can form a consensus and come up with the most likely answer for what might be causing your problem. One possibility that kept coming up was that due to the angle of the connecting rod on the power stroke that the 4200 is unfortunately set up with, may be causing it to side load the piston and cause it to scuff into the wall and grind away part of the skirt. We are most certainly seeing more damage on the thrust side of the piston, and this would make sense. However, when we talked to some other piston manufacturers, they asked us what was the change in the skirt dimension. We are seeing a 11 thousandths change at the skirt, and the folks at Ross think that that is definitely a sign that we are overheating the piston and it is beginning to collapse. Their opinion is that if we were just seeing skirt wear, it would be a couple thou, but 11 thousandths is definitely indicative of a collapsed piston. In our case, the issue only seems to be happening on engines in which we deleted the piston oil squirter. On 4200s, this is actually integrated into the connecting rods, so when we upgraded to the forged connecting rod, they didn't have the piston oil squirter, and maybe that's the cause of the whole problem. So we started talking to rod manufacturers. We started off with Molnar, which is the company who makes the forged connecting rods that we have been using in our engines, and we talked to them, is there a possibility of adding a little tiny hole into the connecting rod and allow that to spray oil, similar to how the factory connecting rod does. They strongly recommended against this because you are going to weaken the rod significantly and create sort of a stress riser in the rod, and they do an awful lot by shot peening the rods to eliminate any stress risers that may exist. The rod definitely needs to be designed around a piston oil squirter of that type, and therefore that wasn't an option. After this, we started looking at other rod manufacturers. Maybe there's something we could learn from another rod used on an entirely different application. We started to notice these little divots in the sides of the rod. While some of the divots seem to be just totally randomly placed, we started to notice that a lot of them were placed at the top of the connecting rod. So we started asking about these little divots. The first few said, oh, well, the factory rod, that they have that, so we just duplicated the factory rod. But the next few said that, oh, that's actually a area for oil to collect, and as the rod is moving up and down in the engine, it actually flings oil up onto the cylinder walls and helps lubricate the piston as it moves up and down in the bore. This sounds like exactly what we're after. So we can modify our rods to add this little divot. It will not sacrifice the strength of the rod, and hopefully it will contribute to a solution to our problem. Now, a lot of people view engines by their brand, but here at the Nivlak 57 YouTube channel, we kind of view engines as all the same. They have cylinders, connecting rods, crankshafts, pistons, well, except for those weird rotary things. Some engines have large strokes. Good engines have short strokes. But one thing that every engine shares is if you put too much boost to it, it'll blow up. So I got to thinking, surely there's another engine that has similar geometry to the 4200 that maybe we could find somebody at the show who might deal with that engine and ask him or her questions about it. This landed me on the Honda K24. I had always heard that the K24 had similar geometry to the 4200, but what I didn't know is it was almost exactly the same. They have the exact same connecting rod length, 5.984 inches, and their stroke is within 3 millimeters of the same. If only there was somebody at the show who had tons of experience with K24s, has literally tested hundreds of them, could probably write a book or two on that particular engine, and would be willing to share any information we wanted to know if we could just ask them. Hey, there's Brent from PFI Speed. I love that guy. I wonder what he's up to. So after talking to Brent for a little while, he said that they actually eliminate the piston oil squirters in their engines because they overcool the pistons. But I also asked him, have they ever seen any piston scuffing issues? He gave me a resounding no, never. You know, they spin those things to like close to 10,000 RPMs or maybe more. That was encouraging to hear. So what that told me is we're probably just overpowering the stock piston. And if we go to a forged piston, it will likely solve the issue, but having these cylinder wall oiling divots in the rod, if you will, that probably won't hurt anything either. This is what's so awesome about the car community. In many industries, information is something to be held close to your chest and be very secretive about. I can't tell anybody else about this because it will give them a competitive advantage and survival of the fittest. It is so great to see that the hot rodding community is not one of those industries, and you can just walk right up to the engineer that designed the part that you're looking at and ask him any question you want. And it just really encourages me for the future of motorsports. One last thing I want to mention is if you haven't seen the latest PFI Speed video that Brent just put up, you should go check it out. He gave a pretty awesome speech at PRI, and I really think it is a good call to action for the car community as a whole. With that, we're going to end the video off. So proud to be a part of this community. You guys are awesome. Leave a comment down below as to what your favorite part of the car community is. Make sure that you like, subscribe, ring the bell, maybe hit the join button, buy a t-shirt, and we'll see you in the next one.